Okay, pretty simple notes today. We're on the third page, the last page already, and all I got to do is tell her whether each function is increasing, decreasing, or constant. You just look at the slope. That's a positive 5. That means as I go to the right one, I'm going to go 5 up. This is an increasing function. I don't have to graph it. I was just asked, is it increasing, decreasing, or constant? And if the question asked, given an x interval over which the graph is increasing, that's the point where we're going to say all real numbers because it never changes its behavior. For the second one, we have a -2 as a slope. This one is decreasing. For the third one, we have a 3/4. That's a positive 3/4, so it is also increasing. And for the last one, we have -3 as if, look, I threw g of x in there and f of n just so you guys could see it's not always x and y. But anyway, this is as if it was 0x minus 3, isn't it? Doesn't that mean the same as that? So this function is constant. Okay, now we're going to try one homework problem where you're going to get kind of like a story problem, a verbal description of something. They should all be linear. And what I want you to do is just read the description and do your best to write the correct linear model. Maybe you got to graph it. Maybe you got to find an intercept. I think you guys know this, so I don't want to waste your time going over stuff that I think you know. If we have trouble with it, we'll go over it in class and make sure that it works out. There is one thing that I want to put on here that I didn't type. The interpretation of slope. See, there's lots of data we could go find. I'm the statistics teacher, right? We deal with data all the time in statistics. There's a lot of data that you could find that ends up looking linear when you plot it. I'm going to go back to this. This was the maximum number of heartbeats for different ages, and we found that we had the exact same slope. Okay, so let me go back to something that we've learned before. This isn't part of your homework, but I just want you to see something, okay? The slope that we found there was negative 0.25, and then one of the points we had was 2050. Now, in the past, you guys have used something called point slope formula. I think we reviewed this in chapter 1. And point slope formula went like this. Y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. Or you could use the mx plus b form to do this as well. Since I got the slope, I'm actually going to make an equation for this data here. I'm going to go y minus 50 is equal to negative 0.25 times, could make that a fraction and call it 1/4, right? It might make this look a little nicer. But anyway, x minus 20. Now I'm going to distribute this x. I get y minus 50 is equal to negative 0.25x, and then it'll be a plus. And I'm going to grab my calculator. I'm pretty sure I know this answer, but I'll put it in anyway. 0.25 times negative 20 is going to be a positive 5, so it's plus 5. And then my last thing, I would get y equals, I would add 50 to both sides, negative 0.25x plus 55. Okay, there's that. Or we could write it like this, f of x equals negative 1/4 x plus 55. Either one of those means the same thing, right? But the whole reason I did this is I want to interpret the slope. It's negative 1/4. Now, the x values are years, how old people are, and the y values are heartbeats. So how do you interpret a slope? It always goes like this. As x goes up 1, y goes down 1/4. Now let me put that with words with years and heartbeats. Ready? If I'm supposed to interpret the slope, it goes like this. For each 1 year that people get older, for each year that people get older, I go over 1 for x. If I'm going over 1, that means a year gets bigger by 1. For each year that people get older, the maximum number of heartbeats, what happens to them? It goes down. It decreases by 1/4 of a heartbeat. Now, of course, that doesn't make any sense, but it's an average kind of thing. So over 10 years, you go 2.5 heartbeats, right? Over 50 years, you go 25 heartbeats, that kind of thing. So I did want you to see the interpretation of a slope. It's always, always, as x increases by 1, y increases by whatever the slope is. And then you just put the words of the problem around that. And if it's negative, you don't say it increases, you say it decreases. The y increases by negative 1/4 is easier to say if you say it decreases by 1/4. All right, your homework will be on My Math Lab. Have a good day, everybody.